Hello everyone, this is Ravinder Dundra and welcome back to my channel. In this lecture, we will continue the topic called Manufacturing Industries from class 10th Geography chapter number 6. In the previous lectures about this chapter, we have already discussed about this agro-based industries. In that, we have seen about cotton textile, jute as well as sugar industries and we have seen the challenges which are faced by these industries. So now, in continuation with that, we will discuss the other very important type of industry, that is mineral based industries. So let us see what are these mineral based industries. So mineral based industries means industries that use minerals and metals as their raw materials. We have seen agro based industries which use the raw material from the agriculture or which depend upon the agriculture for raw material. In the same way, mineral based industries means those industries which use minerals as well as the metals as their raw material. So in that, the first and very important industry which we are going to discuss is about this iron and steel industry. So let us see some of the important features of this iron and steel industry. So first and very important thing is it is the basic industry. Iron and steel industry is known as the basic industry. Why it is known as the basic industry? Because whatever the goods that are produced in the steel and iron industry are used in all other industries. It may be whatever, small, big, or it can be anything else, but the output which is generated in this iron and steel industry is used everywhere. So therefore it is known as the basic industry. And steel is used in manufacturing a variety of engineering goods, construction material as well as this consumer goods. As I told, it is a basic industry, and this iron and steel industry, it manufactures engineering goods, whatever are used for engineering purpose, and also the construction material. You can see the construction material and consumer goods. You can also see directly the consumers which use this iron and steel products. So like this, a variety of goods are manufactured in this iron and steel industry, and that is the reason why we call it as this basic industry. And the next very important thing is production and consumption of steel is regarded as the index of country's development. That means any country, if we want to say whether it is going towards the development, means how we can say is that it depends upon two things. One is this production of steel as well as the consumption of steel. So if they are producing more and more amount of steel, means we can understand that that country is moving towards the path of development. So that is the reason why they have mentioned production and consumption of steel is regarded as the index of country's development. So next, the other very important thing is that this iron and steel industry, it is also known as this heavy industry. Why we call it as this heavy industry is because whatever the raw material used, whatever the goods that are produced in this iron and steel industry, they are very heavy and bulky, and the transportation also requires a heavy cost. So therefore this industry is also known as this heavy industry. And the next very important thing is what are the raw material that are used in the manufacturing of this iron and steel. To manufacture this steel, we require this iron ore, coking coal, limestone in a ratio of 4:2:1. And not only these three things, and some other quantities of this manganese is also used in order to manufacture this steel. So if suppose you can say 4 tons of iron ore is used, means 2 tons of coking coal and 1 ton of limestone are used, and at the same time some quantities of manganese is also used. Then the next very important thing is that whatever the iron and steel industries that are there in India which come under the public sector, that means which come under this government, so those industries, they always market their output, that means they always sell their output by an authority known as this Steel Authority of India, which is a public sector limited, that means which is operated by government. So whatever the industries that are under the control of government or under the control of public sector, they market their goods, they sell their goods through an organization, through an authority known as this Steel Authority of India. So next we will see some other important features of this iron and steel industry. If you can see, during this 1950s, India and China were the almost producing the same quantity of iron and steel during these years of 1950s. That means right after the independence, India and China, they were producing the same quantity of iron and steel. But in recent times, China is the largest producer of steel and also the largest consumer. That means once upon a time, India was producing equally with China, but now if we can see, China has overtaken that position and it is the largest producer of steel and also the largest producer of largest producer as well as largest consumer of this steel. Then in India, that means if we can take in India, which region has more concentration of this iron and steel industry, sir? There is a region known as this chotanagpur plateau, and this chotanagpur plateau region has the maximum concentration of iron and steel industries. So let us see what are the reasons why only this chotanagpur region. Chotanagpur region means, suppose you take this map of India, you can find this particular region, we can call it as this chotanagpur region. So here there is a maximum concentration of iron and steel industries. So the reasons are, first and very important, low cost of iron ore. Why? Because as you all know, the chotanagpur plateau region is actually the main source of minerals, or it is also something like a storehouse of minerals. So in that there is a higher availability of this iron ore. So therefore this region has the low cost of iron ore. That is one thing. Then it is also having the high grade raw material. That means whatever the raw material available here, it is having a higher quality, the highest or the better quality. So that is the reason why here maximum concentration of industries. And the third thing is cheap labor and availability of market. So the labor which is also available here is at a lower cost, and at the same time to market the steel, to market the output which they have produced, this place has a right place. So because of these reasons, because of the low cost of iron ore, because of the high grade raw material and the cheap labor and very good market, this particular region, the chotanagpur plateau region, has more concentration of iron and steel industries. So next we will see the challenges that are faced by this iron and steel industry. So what challenges it is facing, and we will see how we can rectify them. So the first and very important thing is that first challenge is that high costs and limited availability of coking coal. So we have just now seen that the very important raw material which is also used in manufacturing of iron and steel is that coking coal. So we have seen 4:2:1. But here the main problem is the cost of this coking coal is very high. It is becoming higher and higher, and at the same time there is a limited availability of this coking coal. So this is one of the reason why this the first and very important challenge faced by this iron and steel industry. Then the next thing is lower productivity of the labor. That means whatever the labor are hired, they are not putting their much efforts in order to produce this output. So the labor productivity is very lesser. And the third thing is irregular supply of energy and poor infrastructure. So the three main important reasons, or the three main challenges faced by iron and steel industry are: one is high cost and limited availability of coking coal, which is the reason we are falling backwards in this iron and steel industry. Then second thing is lower productivity of labor. Whomever the labor we have hired, they are not putting the 100% effort in order to extract that output. And the next one is irregular supply of energy. So there is a lot of irregular supply of power or any other raw materials, and poor infrastructure. That means whatever the equipment we have, it is not up to the level, or it is not compatible with the technology used by the other countries. So because of these challenges, our iron and steel industry is somewhat falling backward compared to other countries such as China. So what must be done? What is the remedy is that? So in recent times, mostly our country, India, is somewhat developing because of some of the remedies. One is this liberalization. Liberalization means what? We have given full freedom to the industries without keeping any restrictions, and at the same time something known as this FDI, foreign direct investment. That means the investment made by a other country or the foreign country, we call it as this FDI. So when other countries keep investment in our country, there is a chance of growth in the industry. So that is the reason which gave boost to this industry in the recent times. So liberalization and foreign direct investment have given some boost to this iron and steel industry, and there is a need to allocate more resources to this research and development. R&D means research and development. That means we need to invest some of the money on research and development. That means to develop new technology, to extract some new techniques, we need to invest more money on research and development. So if we invest more on research and development, new technology, new skill will come up, we can use it better, and we can produce more and more steel, iron and steel. So if we can follow these remedies, we can improve our iron and steel industry in the country. So with this we have completed this iron and steel industry. So next we will see about this aluminium industry. Let us discuss about this aluminium industry. So aluminium industry is the second most important metallurgical industry in India. So first and very important metallurgical industry in India is iron and steel industry, and after that the second very important industry is this aluminium industry. And there are some very important features of this aluminium industry. That means we can say the important properties of this aluminium. So what are these important things? One is it is lightweight. That means it is not very heavy, and at the same time it is resistant to corrosion. Corrosion means what? Easily destroyed, because when it come in contact with the water or air. But if you take this aluminium, it is resistant to corrosion. That means it doesn't react to this air, or it doesn't react to oxygen as well as this water. So that is one of the very important feature, and it is the good conductor of heat as well as this energy. And the last and very important thing is it is malleable. That means it can be easily converted into sheets. So because of these properties, it has somewhat more demand nowadays when we compare even with this iron and steel industry. And what are the things that means where this aluminium is mainly used is that this aluminium is used mainly in manufacturing aircraft. That means you see all the aeroplanes are actually manufactured by using this aluminium. Then some of the utensils which we use in our home, and at the same time this wires. So this aluminium is mainly used in manufacturing aircraft, utensils and wires. And sometimes this aluminium covers or aluminium sheets are also used nowadays to store these food items. If you see some of the chocolates, they are actually coated or covered with this aluminium sheets. So that means this aluminium is used in various for various purpose. And the next very important thing is why it has become very popular is because it gained popularity as a substitute of steel, copper, zinc and lead. So instead of using these items, steel, copper, zinc and lead, people started using this aluminium. Why? Because of these properties. So therefore instead of steel, people started preferring this aluminium. Instead of copper, instead of zinc, instead of lead, they started using the aluminium. So that is the reason how it has become more and more popular. Then the next very important thing is, as you all know, how this aluminium is manufactured. So it is manufactured from a raw material known as bauxite, which is converted into alumina, then finally turned into this aluminium. So bauxite is the raw material which is used in the manufacturing of this aluminium. So next, what are the factors for location of this aluminium industry? That means based on which factors we can set up this aluminium industry, or factors responsible for setting up this aluminium industry are: one is the regular supply of electricity. So first and very important thing, not only aluminium industry, any industry, they'll take care about the regular supply of electricity. So even if you take this aluminium industry, if there is a regular supply of electricity, means we can set up the factory there, and at the same time assured source of raw material. That means must ensure availability of raw material and at a cheaper or minimum cost. So the second very important factor is there should be a compulsory availability of raw material at a cheaper cost. So power supply, availability of raw material at a lower cost will affect the setting up of this aluminium industry. So with this we have completed iron and steel industries as well as this aluminium industries. So in the next lectures we will discuss about these chemical industries. Thank you.